Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of a series that I am calling Screen Factor. This is actually a series that began years and years ago, even though those videos aren't available to the general public. And I'll explain what I mean by that at the end of the video, but for now I want to tell you what this series is going to be about. This is a series I've been wanting to revive for some time now, where I will discuss the news around movies, TV shows, and video games of the current day. And I may expand into music as well, but for now movies are kind of my thing. And I'm hoping to do videos like this semi-regularly, talking about updates on the productions of movies, box office performances of movies, and talking about movies that are coming down the pipeline. And I'm really excited to just get into it, so thank you all so much for watching, and let's get into this first episode. This first episode is going to be kind of the catch-up episode because a lot of movie news came in December. Beginning with the fact that on December 19th, James Gunn and Warner Brothers officially released the first ever teaser trailer for his new Superman movie. And aside from the accompanying poster that came before this gave us our first official look at David Corwin's set as Superman. We also got the introduction of several other characters, including Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Crypto the Superdog, who was modeled after James Gunn's own dog, Ozu, who he adopted shortly into the process of writing this movie. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, as well as minor appearances from the likes of Metamorpho, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. Now, most of what we actually know about this movie comes from James Gunn himself. Firstly, this movie is going to be foregoing the traditional setup or origin story of Superman, which I honestly think is very appropriate. It's like the Batman origin story. It's been adapted so many times across many different movies that the majority of audiences know who Superman is at this point. And this movie is also going to be very conscious of the fact that Superman is just one player in a greater DC universe. This movie won't just be focusing on other characters so that they can get their series and their spin-offs. That's not what this is about. But it's also not going to be one of those superhero movies where Superman's just going through it and all of the other superheroes of this universe are just conveniently asleep, I guess, during this time. He will be casually acting alongside other heroes like Green Lantern. Within 24 hours of the trailer's release, it received over 250 million views on YouTube, becoming the fastest trailer in both DC and Warner Brothers history to ever do so. And personally, I'm very excited for this movie. James Gunn, to me, has always come across as a director who's been waiting his entire life to make a Superman movie. I think he really understands the spirit of the character, and I'm very excited to see his take. Even just based on the trailer, this seems like it will be unlike any Superman movie that's come before it, and I'm very excited for that. And on December the 23rd, we got an early Christmas present because it was announced by Universal Pictures that Christopher Nolan's next movie will be an adaptation of Homer's Odyssey. This Greek epic follows the journey of Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, and his 10-year journey home following the Trojan War. When I heard the news that Nolan was going to be adapting this story, I was so excited. This is a movie that I didn't know that I needed, and there's no one that I would trust to do it justice quite like Christopher Nolan. And in terms of cast at this point, it is confirmed that Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, Robert Pattinson, and Charlize Theron are all playing roles in this film. It is also speculated that the score will be composed by Ludwig Göransson, but I can't officially confirm that. But if he is, this would mark his third collaboration with Nolan. Nolan has also said that this adaptation will be staying true to the more mythical aspects of the story as well, which makes me very, very excited. You see, one other adaptation of a Greek epic was the movie Troy from 2004. This was an adaptation of the Iliad, which was also by Homer, but this movie chose a much more grounded approach to adapting this work. But from the sounds of it, Nolan is going to endeavor to stay faithful to the more mythical aspects of the movie. And considering that generally in the past he has preferred to use practical effects over CGI, I'm very curious how this is gonna look. He might just use CGI, who knows? And like the majority of Nolan's work in the 2010s and onward, he will be shooting the entire film using IMAX cameras. But it's been revealed by IMAX that he will be shooting this project using brand new IMAX cameras. According to IMAX, they've been making innovations with their film cameras that allow for a much more silent form of recording, because the 70mm cameras that they used to shoot Oppenheimer are very, very noisy. So you can bet that when this movie comes out, I will be going to the city to watch this in IMAX 70mm, and this is my formal request to Sir Christopher Nolan. Please, please invite me to the premiere of this movie. Nolan's Odyssey is scheduled to be released in July of 2026, meaning I have plenty of time to get popular enough on this site to be invited to that premiere, so hit subscribe down below. I've mentioned before on this channel that my brother is a creative writing major. He loves both consuming as well as creating his own stories. And of course, he's read a lot of the classics, including Homer's Odyssey. And so of course, he was the first person that I told the news when it broke. And so you can bet that when the movie comes out, there will be a 5-hour video on this channel in collaboration with him on Homer's Odyssey and how Nolan's movie stacks up to it.
Hello, I'm Christopher Nolan, and he's not.
This news was the early Christmas, but boy oh boy was Christmas Day a banger, because on December 25th, Robert Eggers' fourth movie, Nosferatu, released in theaters. This is a retelling of the silent film from 1922, but in true Eggers fashion. And as of recording this, I have not seen the film yet, but I really want to. Robert Eggers is unironically one of my favorite directors working today. He only has 4 films out, and all of the ones I've seen are incredible. He was the only director that I would trust in the modern day to adapt this story. And having watched the original silent film, there are so many shots, even from the trailers, that you can tell were very much inspired by the original film, which I love so much. And I won't go into too much detail on the actual story itself in this video, mainly because I want you all to go and see it in theaters for yourself. But if you want, I did do a video on this channel in the past on the original silent film that you can check out. The main topic that I wanted to address today is that this is Robert Eggers' highest opening at the box office for any of his films, pulling in $40 million in only the first 5 days. It is now also the second highest grossing R-rated movie of 2024, following up Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine. It's also been confirmed by the director that Nosferatu will be getting an extended cut with its release on Blu-ray and 4K UHD. And personally, I'm very excited to see Eggers' take on the classic vampire story. His movies are so different visually and tonally from any director I can think of working today. And if there was anyone that I could choose to do the monster justice, it would absolutely be him.
Standing before me was death, but I'd never been so happy.
Of course, not all news from the movies is good news, because we also saw the release date of the sequel to The Batman get pushed back another year. It was previously pushed back to October of 2026, but now may be pushed back as far as October of 2027. And in response to this news, James Gunn explained that the main reason for this is that the screenplay for the sequel to The Batman has not been finished. That means by the time we finally see Robert Pattinson put on the cowl, it will have been 5 years since the last time he did so. And if you were browsing Twitter the day that this movie was announced, which first of all, I don't really recommend browsing Twitter anyways, the majority of fans were of course very disappointed with this delay. And so personally, I think I'm probably in the minority here. You see, I loved The Batman so much, and I really want the sequel to at least be on the same level as the original. And so personally, I'm willing to wait as long as it takes for the screenplay to just be able to match the original. Of course, it's frustrating having to wait 5 years between movies, but we've all seen what happens when a studio rushes a production and just tries to get it out as fast as possible. In more recent news, it was announced by James Gunn that Jason Momoa will be returning in this new DC universe. And rather than playing Aquaman, he will be returning in the movie Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow as the character Lobo. And while it's definitely weird that he will have played 2 characters in 2 different DC universes, him playing Lobo honestly makes way more sense than him playing Aquaman did. It's just great seeing my boy have a win. Even though he already played Aquaman, he's been pushing for so long to play the character of Lobo, and so it's just great seeing him get to finally do that. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is set to release next summer, unless of course it gets Batman 2'd.
I'm the king of Atlantis. I am Aquaman.
And of course, in much more recent news, the Golden Globes happened very recently, and honestly, I think that deserves a whole episode in itself, so I'm just gonna skip all that. Because what I really want to do right now is quickly spotlight some of the films that I think stand out that are releasing this month. First and foremost, we are getting an adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. This one in particular is very interesting to me because Guillermo del Toro, at this point in his career, is the king of creative creature designs, and so I'm so interested to see his take on the monster. It stars Jacob Elordi as the monster, Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein, Mia Goth as Elizabeth, and many other very talented actors. And frankly, this movie is a little bit of a mystery to me. See, it's slated to release on Netflix this month, and yet I seem to know nothing about it. I haven't seen a trailer, there's been no marketing for this movie, I don't even know if it's live action or animated. I think this movie has the potential to be a very interesting film, but the fact that it's not being marketed at all, I think, is only going to hurt it upon its release. And now for the exact opposite, because I can't go 2 minutes in my day-to-day without seeing some trailer or promo for the upcoming horror movie Wolfman. This is a remake of the original Wolfman from 1941. It follows the horrors experienced by a family trapped in a remote farmhouse as they are plagued by this mysterious creature. But the monsters aren't only outside the house because it looks as though the husband may be infected by something supernatural. And to any of the haters out there who think that this just sounds like another schlocky horror movie, this has been the first ever episode on this channel of Screen Factor. And if you've stuck around till the end of the video, I wanted to quickly tell you the story of how this show came into being. Because technically, this series has actually existed for years at this point. See, when I was in high school, I was one of the main creators, producers, and editors for our school's media board. We would produce 20 to 30 minute videos every month that were essentially a compilation of class projects, independent series led by students, and one of the segments in this show that I would produce and co-host was a show called Screen Factor. And so shout out to my 2 friends who were also a part of this media board and also produced Screen Factor if you're watching this video. Because I'm really proud of the work that we did on that show, and now that I have a platform on YouTube where I've been talking about movies for some time now, I wanted to revive this series and put a little bit of a different spin on it. I'm not sure how often I'll be posting these videos. Back when we were doing Screen Factor in high school, it would be once a month, but I think the reality is I will be posting these videos as I receive more news coming out of the film industry. And so I hope that you're excited to join me on this new series because I know that I am. I'll be making more of the same kind of videos that I've done in the past, these deep dives into some movies or online horror series or music albums that I really enjoy. This is just going to be in addition to the content that I've been doing up until this point. And so if you stuck around this long, then thank you so much for watching, and a happy new year to you all. And I hope that you all watching this video have an amazing new year. Of course, there's always going to be world news year after year that can be a reason to hate this new year, but I hope that on a personal level, you have a fantastic year. And a special thank you, of course, to the patrons, Sean, Happy the Knife, and my top tier patrons, RD and Snowy, for continuing to support me in making these videos. This video would have been up a lot sooner, but I'm kind of recovering from a cold right now, so I was in no state to record any videos. But I'm back now, and hopefully I can continue to make videos that you all really enjoy, because I love making them. This has been the first episode of Screen Factor, and I will see you for whatever I have planned next. I hope that you're excited for it, because I know that I am. And cut.